What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we are going to be continuing the build on the 2008 CBR600RR. In the previous video, we took a look at the damage, what was done to the bike when it was dropped. We had a few broken parts, some things that were pretty obvious as to what was damaged. And in today's video, we are going to be unboxing all the parts that we ordered. So let's get straight to work and start unboxing this stuff and let's see what we got. All right, so check this out, guys. I think we've got pretty much everything that we need here to put this bike back together. Let's just take a walk through and quickly go through everything that we have in stock. So over here we have the rear set. I picked these up at a place called Tech Parts. It's pretty local to Toronto. I think it's in Richmond Hill. We got some basic maintenance items. We have oil and an oil filter. This hardware here is to put the fairings together. So because we had that box of all the random bolts, I wasn't sure if we had everything that we needed to put it together. So I just ended up buying this thing. It was like 25 bucks. It's a pretty good deal and it has the essentials to put everything together. And then we have some tools here. This is to take the front and the rear wheel off, just an assortment of sockets. We have some LED headlights, and these two were the most important things that I needed to put this thing back together. If you guys recall from the last video, this part here, the front stay, was just in pieces. The ram air intake is obviously it was all busted up. This is the Cbr600 Fairing Kit, and inside this box is the rest of the fairing kit that we need to put this thing back together. But I just wanted to show you guys what this thing looks like. The particular color that is in this thing, this kit actually, I'm surprised that it looks like this, like in terms of quality. When we put it together, I guess we'll figure out if it's actually really good, like how good the quality is. But it looks identical to the stuff that we had kind of hanging on the wall over here. Yeah, so other than that, it's pretty much everything that we have here. So in today's video, like I said, I really want to get this thing moving again. So what I'm going to try to attempt to do is to get these things together so that we can have a place to rest our feet, and also put this other front brake lever on so that we'll be able to stop. I'm pretty sure we have everything here to put this bike completely back together to make it ride again. But I just don't know if we'll have enough time to do everything today. So let's just start wrenching, I guess. Just put this thing back together and we'll just see how far we get and go from there. It looks like these guys right here are adjustable. You can move the whole assembly kind of forward and backwards depending on how, I guess, big your feet are. This space looks pretty big for me, so I think I'm going to move these bolts over to the ones that are closer, just so the footrest is kind of closer to the shifter lever here. installed the rear set on the left side here, so we can move on to the next thing. And I really want to take care of getting the front of this bike put together. So we're going to move on to installing the brake lever, the front brake lever on this side, and also the front assembly here where the headlights and the cluster and the front stay and all that stuff goes in there. So what we have over here, guys, everything that we're going to need to put the front of the motorcycle back together. We got the front stay where the cluster and the mirrors bolt onto. And then we have the ram air assembly over here, which goes on the front of the bike. And then we also have the headlights and a couple essential tools that we're going to need to put this thing back together. So we're just going to make our way over to the front of the bike over here. And before we put on the brake lever, I just want to say that I installed the clutch lever, and it's pretty straightforward off camera just to kind of get an idea of how to install it. Just one thing I wanted to show you guys before we put it on is this little switch here. This button that I'm pressing, this is the micro switch for the brake lights, and you just want to make sure that before you hook the lever to the handlebar assembly, that you just keep in mind that this switch is here, because it can easily be kind of forgotten, and you don't want to bust this thing off because then your brake lights won't work. So we're just gonna make sure that we take care of this little switch here to make sure that it's installed correctly, and then after that we're gonna move on to taking care of installing the rest of the plastic parts here. Yeah, so if you guys take a look, this thing was pretty straightforward to install. It was just one bolt here, and then you got the nut on the bottom to try to tighten everything up. So if you guys listen closely, you can hear that the brake lever is actually installed correctly. There's a micro switch that I was talking about before. If you press the brake lever, you can hear it clicking. So that's how you know that the brake lever is positioned in the correct spot, and that the switch is engaging and disengaging, or switching on and off. So that's how you know everything's lined up correctly. So the next thing that we're going to do is start to get all the stuff in the front here assembled, the front stay and the cluster and all the little bits from there. So we're just going to move on to that in the next step. Alright guys, so we got the front ram assembly bolted up to the bike, and it lined up pretty nicely. The forks, there's a slot there for the forks to kind of sit when you're turning the handlebars. So that's how you know everything's kind of lined up correctly, because they don't interfere with each other. So the next step that we're going to do is install this guy here, the front stay. So before we actually, this thing kind of just slides in here. There's a couple pockets there it just slides into. But before we actually bolt this guy up, there is the cluster assembly has to bolt onto the top first. There's 3 holes, as you can see here, that screw onto the bottom, like screw through the bottom. And the bolt in the middle, there's no way to get a driver, like a screwdriver or anything, to tighten the screw, because they screw out from the bottom here. So we're gonna have to install the cluster before we actually put the front stay on. So we're just gonna move over to the table and slap the cluster on, and then we'll put this guy onto the, like, bolt it up onto the bike. All right guys, so there you have it. We got everything bolted up pretty nicely. Everything lined up very well. Surprised actually, like all the parts I didn't get them from the dealership. I kind of just found them scattered online places, and everything seems to be fitting up very, very well. So I'm happy about that. So we're gonna get the last piece of the puzzle over there. So we're just gonna grab the headlights, line them up, start screwing them on, and then we'll start plugging everything in and try to see if everything works. All right guys, so there we have it. We got the headlights on, we got some of the front brackets for the fairings installed, and then we also installed the cluster, and it looks pretty good. It's starting to actually look like a motorcycle again. So all the gaps are very nice, everything fit up perfectly well. The only thing we got to do is plug in the cluster. I probably should have plugged it in before I put this headlight on, because I think this harness, I'm pretty sure this harness has to wrap inside behind this guy. So we can take care of that in a minute. I'll just probably do that off camera. And then the last thing we have to do is just plug in the headlights. This is one of the harnesses for the headlight, and it just plugs into this guy. And then there's also a matching one over here, plugs into this harness right here. And then we can test the headlights and see if they work. So I'm gonna do that really quickly and then come back to you guys in a second. All right guys, so there we have it. We got the cluster, the harness for the cluster plugged in, and then we also took care of plugging in the headlights, so the headlights should work now on both sides. And I think we should just test this thing really quickly and see if everything's working correctly. So let's turn the key on. Cluster's working, this is awesome. See the headlights. So we got one headlight working. I believe the other one is the high beam. So, oh, perfect. All right, guys, I think that's gonna be a wrap on today's video. We got a lot of stuff done, and I'm really excited about this build. So it's just a quick recap. We got the headlights installed, the front stay, the cluster. In the next video, we're gonna tackle the services on the bike, which include the brake fluid right here, the engine oil service, and also the chain. And then we're also gonna take care of these headlights, because I started looking a little closer and you can kind of see a little bit of scratches on it. And this one over here is pretty clear, but it's just kind of little, it's like it's just got a bunch of bugs and stuff like that on it. So I got something that we can clean up these headlights with, and I think you guys are gonna like the outcome. If you guys enjoyed the video, please consider hitting the like button. I'd really appreciate it. And I just want to thank you guys once again for watching. Remember to ride safe and just take it easy.